Have you ever wondered how unsafe a contact sport such as American football can actually be? Well, today that's what we're going to be talking about. Not just American football, though, but all contact sports like soccer, hockey, basketball, those type of sports where there's a lot of physical contact between two players. Now, when playing a contact sport, you will have broken bones, torn muscles, separated muscles. You'll receive head injuries, all sorts of stuff like that. Now, for me personally, I've received a lot of broken bones, I've separated muscles, and I've hit my head a plenty number of times to the point where almost I can't even keep count of sometimes because of the amount of times I've hit my head or bounced my head off of the ground when making a save playing soccer. But that's aside the fact. Now, one of the sources that I had was titled The Incidence of Pediatric and Adolescent Concussion in Action Sports, a Symptomatic Review and Meta-Analysis. Now, in this article, it states that not only in American football, but also in football, or soccer as we call it over here, we need to start regulating when those kids or youth kids can start playing those contact sports, because of the amount of force when two kids have when colliding at such high speeds, or even quick explosive speeds such as linemen hitting each other when the ball is snapped in football. Now, I played line when I did football, and I also play soccer, so I know both games and both aspects of both games. And I will say for sure that when I played football, it was a lot harder hits than it is compared to soccer. Now, when they're around 6 years old, the brain is almost fully developed, or fully developed to our current adult size brain. So they're still trying to piece the brain together to that adult size, and by playing contact sports at such young ages, between 6 or even 4 years old up to 10, 12 years old, those are more of the most vulnerable times when a kid is playing a sport, because that is when their brains, not only the muscles and the bones, because the muscles and bones are also growing, not just the brain is growing as well, but it makes them that much more vulnerable to breaking, tearing, and receiving severe head injuries that could have lasting side effects for their entire life. Now, other things such as academic ability. Now, when people receive concussions, their academic ability can either be continued as normal or actually severely decrease. Now, when you receive a really bad head injury and are not able to do anything for a prolonged period of time, so that way your brain can recover from that head injury, you have to make sure that you are in dark places and not looking at screens such as computers, phones, TVs, tablets, anything of that type of sort, or even driving a car. You can't even drive a car depending on how severe it is. But from that severity, people are not able to do schoolwork and other type of things because they have to focus on recovering, so that way they can get back to normal day activities. Now, trying to get back to normal day activities, depending on the severity, can be a month, 2 months, sometimes even up to 6 months at the most severe that I've seen when researching this type of side effects on concussions. Now, people that received concussions at a severe rate or very bad rate will actually see a decrease in about roughly 50% to 65% of their grades dropping because of how much time they have to spend out of school and not being able to do anything. Now, another place that has an effect is because parents are seeing how dangerous our contact sports are here in the world, they're not wanting their children, sons or daughters, to play these type of contact sports, and rather them getting into the arts, languages, and even video games. Video games is probably the worst thing that you can do because you're not doing any extracurricular activity or outdoor activity, so you're just sitting inside and gaining fat while you are eating, drinking, all that type of different things, while you're not doing any prolonged period of activity, which is very severe to our bodies, not only, but it's also making everyone more obese, which is not what you want to have happen. Now, when we have injuries in sports and contact sports, people start to really contemplate what they should be doing after that injury. Now, everyone's going to go through the recovery phase, but people don't realize how severe and prolonged an injury can last for different types of injuries. Now, when I separated a shoulder, I was out for about 2.5 weeks because that was the lowest tier of separation of my muscle. And when not being able to do extracurricular activities with my teammates, I feel left out of my second family that I consider it to be. So you kind of lose friendship almost, if you understand that type of feeling, where you have your main family that you live with on a daily basis, and then you have your sports family that are everyone that's on your team and your coaches and stuff like that. When you're not playing or not doing sports in general, you're not having that social activity. You're not having that social interaction, and that's what can cause things to happen and decline in people, and not making them want to be socially involved in things such as like school activities, like pep rallies, that type of stuff, kind of like how we have here on campus, like our events and stuff like that that are led by our RAs and our OSE, our student engagement office, and stuff like that. People aren't going to want to get involved with that type of stuff because they don't feel connected as a family. So that's kind of why sports are also a negative, because of people's parents not wanting them to play. They aren't creating that social aspect. So it can be a good thing to play sports, but it can also be a bad thing not to play sports.